We made over £80,000 in a fix and flip renovation project in Dubai, and I've created a step-by-step guide to help you do the exact same thing. Throughout the video, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I will reply to every single one of them, so definitely here to help. So I'm Brooke Oddy and I'm the co-founder of Shakare Capital, and I run this company with my partner Waf, and Shakare Capital is a property investment company, and we take investor funds, allocate it into property, whether that be a fix and flip through renovation, whether that's a quick flip through just finding an undervalued property and selling it at market value. Either way, we're taking investors' money, investors' funds, and we are allocating it into property to give them a passive return on their income. We do that well by using our vast network in Dubai, whether that be brokers, mortgage brokers, contractors and construction companies, FX to exchange your currencies, the law firm that we work with exclusively for all contracts and investor agreements, and that's what we offer to our investors. So let's get into it. So how do I flip properties in Dubai? So first of all, flipping is when you buy a property and then you sell it in a short period of time to make a profit. And you can either do that just by flipping it through buying it really cheap and then selling it at market value, or you can add value through a renovation. And that's what I'm going to talk you through today, because we have literally made hundreds of thousands of pounds by doing this in Dubai. And this is our blueprint. So why flip in Dubai in particular? So obviously you can flip and renovate properties all across the world, but why Dubai? And there's lots of reasons why Dubai is a great opportunity right now for fix and flips or renovations. The first one being the fact that it's very, very fast transfers. Compared to places like the UK, I've got a friend at the moment who's dealing with a property that's just taken 6 months to transfer. In the project that I'm going to talk you through, it took us 4 weeks. And so in Dubai, they've got their sort of legislations a lot more crystal clear. And when you sign a document or a contract, you're actually bound by 10% of the property value, which just basically stops people from time wasting and you can't fall out of contract. Unlike places like the UK where you can be in a contract for a few months and then it can fall through. And so that speed element gives you an edge against other investors, because ultimately when you're looking for your return, it's also on a timeline. And so the quicker that you can get that return, then the quicker that you can keep on recycling those flips and making more money from your money and creating a compound of wealth. The next benefit, which is no surprise for Dubai, is the fact that there is no capital gains tax. Obviously there's minimal tax in Dubai anyway, but capital gains tax is basically the tax that you get charged for the added value that your property has gained over time. So for example, if you bought it for £50,000 and then it was worth £100,000, you would be charged a tax in places like the UK for the profit that you'd gained on that, whereas that doesn't exist in Dubai, meaning that you can keep all of the profit for yourself, which is obviously a huge benefit for investors and for keeping that return cash on cash. High capital appreciation. So capital appreciation is just basically when the price of the property increases over time. A little bit similar to capital gains. It's a similar concept. It just basically means that the property is worth more today than it was maybe a month ago or 2 months ago. And in Dubai, the trajectory at the moment is just up and up and up, which is a very unique position to be in. A very, very good position to be in as an investor, because it means that while you are going to add the value to the property through renovation, you're also going to see the price increase through the time that it took to renovate it as well, which puts you in a very, very comfortable and safe position to have made a good profit on the back end. And then finally, you are looking for a stable market. Now, a stable market can look like a lot of things, but the reason that Dubai is a really stable market at the moment is because the properties are still really, really well priced. There's a website called the UBS Bubble Index, the Global Bubble Index, and that basically grades different cities on how high risk or low risk they are of a bubble. And a bubble is basically when the prices continue to rise and rise and rise through speculation, but then it pops because there's nothing to actually back that up. Whereas with Dubai, the prices are rising because of genuine demand, which basically means that the property market is a lot more stable and there's less risk of a bubble occurring, which again creates a low risk environment for your property investments, which is perfect for when you're wanting to flip. So finding the right property, this is obviously one of the most important parts of your journey when you're creating wealth through fix and flips, and that's because if you don't find the right property or the right project, you're likely not going to make a lot of money from it, and it will end up costing you a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money for you not to see the outcome. So picking the right project and the right property is super important, and there's a few things that are key to making that decision. One of them being that it's an undervalued property. Now, undervalued property basically just means that it's currently listed for less than the current market value of the property. So for example, if the apartment of that type and that size is typically selling for 3 million and you manage to get it for 2.8 million, then you've made money on the buy by purchasing the property for below market value, and therefore it's an undervalued property. And that basically just again gives you extra protection to make more profit on the back end and get the most out of your investment. Obviously you're looking for a property that's got renovation potential. What that just basically means is that it's not a property that's brand new, it looks incredible and there's nothing that you could physically do to it. You're obviously looking for those rundown houses that are looking either old, that are looking dated. Lots of the communities in Dubai, especially townhouse communities, they're well made, but the style is very old and dated, and that basically gives us a huge opportunity to go in and make those apartments look beautiful, and then they'll likely get sold on the back end. So you would be surprised, like some of these apartments have got the most amazing view, and then it's literally the ugliest kitchen that you've ever seen. You would never want to live there. And so obviously that's when you can see the opportunity to go in, make it look amazing and get the right price for it. And then probably the most important one, especially if you're looking for a lower risk investment, is existing data. So basically finding data of previous projects, previous apartments, townhouses, villas, where they have done a renovation, somebody else has done a renovation, and then they've created that increased value on the back end. And if you can see that in the transacted data, let's say there's a 3-bed that's going and all of them are selling for 3 million, but then you see that one was renovated and it sold for 4 million, then you know from the transacted data that it's been done before and that you can have the chance to do it again, basically. If you are looking for a higher risk investment, you can go in and try and create that value without having the existing data. In that scenario, you're creating the ceiling, which basically means that you're creating the new high price, the new highest price. What we look to do with Shikar Capital is not to do that. We don't want to create the ceiling, we want to find evidence in data that it's already been done, that it already works, and then we can work from a low risk perspective and know that we are making more profit on the back end. We have access to Property Monitor, which is it's probably the best database in Dubai for transacted data in property. If you don't have access to Property Monitor, then you can use things like DXP Interact, which are amazing, and I'll put the link to both of those in the caption below. So my process for finding a good flip: firstly, working with agents. I feel like this is definitely something that a lot of people or a lot of investors don't capitalise on enough. A lot of investors will think, let's go direct to the owners, let's go direct to the sellers and cut out the middleman and cut out the agent. I actually think that in that case, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. You actually get a lot more projects, a lot more opportunities if you actually work with agents. So agents obviously are experts in their area. So you might have one agent who knows everything that there is to know about Dubai Marina, and a completely different agent might know everything there is to know about Dubai Hills. And if you have a great network of brokers and real estate agents, then you can basically work with them and tell them what you're looking for, share with them your criteria, and then you've got a million different people, maybe not a million, but you've got lots of different people around Dubai who are looking for projects, looking for opportunities for you, who can then come and present that to you. And they'll often help with things like what to expect on a renovated property. They can also help with what are the potential buyers in that area going to look for. So some areas in Dubai, it might be European buyers. In some areas in Dubai, it might be significantly Asian buyers. And those different types of buyers will have different needs, different requirements, different styles that they like from their homes. And if you can get all of that information from the agents and the brokers, then you can use that information to really specialize your renovation to the type of buyer that will be buying your property, and then give yourself the most chance to get the profit from the back end by making it sellable to your target market. Finding an area with a high profit margin. So the high profit margin is basically just the space between what you can buy it at now and the space that you'll sell it at once it's renovated. So obviously if you can buy the house for $1 million and then you can sell it for 5 million, that's a humongous profit margin. And the bigger that margin is, obviously the safer your investment is. Checking the data always, again, so you've got Property Monitor and you've got DXB Interact to try and have a look at that data and just find evidence of that it's happened before, evidence that it exists, evidence that buyers in that market will pay the price that you're expecting. It's all well and good saying that once you've done an amazing renovation you can expect 5 million, but are people in that area buying those properties for 5 million, or will that then move them out of that area? Like if they've got 5 million, they're going to look at a different area instead. So you don't want to price yourself out of the market, and you want to make sure that whatever price you're going to put on your renovated property, it exists, that the buyer exists. And then a market demand. So in Dubai, the market demands are a lot higher if you've got a significant USP. Something like an amazing view. It might be views of the ocean, views of the Palm, Jumeirah. It might be views of the marina. That's a USP and people want to buy that. People want that, and it gives that property a demand. Other demands might be a really large garden where you can add a swimming pool, or it might have a huge built up area so you could add another bedroom. All of these things are unique selling points for a property type that will make it easier for you to get a higher price on the back end, and will also make selling it a lot easier too, because again, you've got to remember we're always thinking about that timeline. If it's going to take you 3 years to sell this property once you've renovated it, then nobody's happy with that. The quicker that you can sell them, then the quicker that you can keep reinvesting those funds and making money. The next step is the renovation and the contractor. Now this is a crucial step for your fix and flip, and most of the work for this goes into it before you've actually picked your contractor. And I've come up with the 4 key areas and things that you need to be looking out for when you're vetting out contractors. Now, Shakir Capital, my company, has got a project management arm, and as part of that we have already done all of the things that I'm about to explain, and we have vetted out and have an amazing network of contractors where we know that it's high quality, on time, low price, very, very competitive quotes. We can basically completely manage a project from start to finish. We can plan it, we can take it off. It's like a hands-off approach for our clients effectively. So quality assurance, so important in Dubai. So important. I have been to more site visits than I could count to check the quality of contractors' work, and wow, sometimes you will be appalled, sometimes you will be amazed, and the difference between the two is huge. And you've got to think that when you're selling a home, a house, the person who's going to move into that house is not going to look at things from 5 feet away. They're going to look at things very, very close, and they're going to notice everything that could possibly be wrong with it. And so when you're doing quality assurance checks on contractors, that's the type of detail and sort of vigilance that you need when you're doing these site visits. You need to go in and check everything, check the grout, check the wallpaper, does it line up, check the tiling, check everything, check whether the drawers open smoothly, whether the cupboards open smoothly. Just really try and go in and check it for as many issues and errors and mistakes as possible, because the more that you minimize that, then the better quality that the finish is going to be in your projects, which saves you so much time, saves you in reputation, and obviously makes your property a lot easier to sell on the back end. So it's going to massively affect you and your fix and flip. The better that the quality is of the work. Experience, super important. So obviously you want to work with someone who's had lots of experience. If you're doing a renovation in an apartment, have they got experience in that apartment block maybe? Have they worked with those project managers before? So have they worked with those developers before? Have they, been in Dubai for a long time? With contractors, if they've been in Dubai for over 10 plus years, then they have a lot of contacts, and that just massively helps. It helps in a lot of different ways. It helps with the cost because usually they've got a great network themselves, whether that's subcontracting out, whether that's if they've had a lot of experience in Dubai and they've built up that network themselves, then it helps them to do a better job for you. And so those are little things that you can look out for when you're speaking to contractors, and just seeing how long they've been here for. Have they got the experience in what you're looking for? Have they done fix and flips before? Because contractors can offer a lot of help in fix and flips, especially if you're looking for an investment where you're just renovating to sell. They can offer you a lot of advice as well on what's worked before for other people, especially if you're new starting out. They can recommend shades that have sold easy or that other fix and flippers use all the time, recommend flooring, recommend tiles. So it's just these different things. If they've got a lot of experience, then they can offer that help to you as well, and it can be a really useful partner in the long run. Delay penalties. Wow, super important. I would say one of the biggest questions that I get regarding contractors and construction works and renovations is, but what do you do about the time? And that's because I think worldwide contractors just have a terrible reputation when it comes to actually doing things on time and sticking to the timeline that they've set themselves, and sticking to the budget, to be honest. And the easiest way to mitigate that risk is by adding a delay penalty into the contract. So when we go into contract with a contractor, we'll have a delay penalty in there that's 20,000 dirhams per month, and that basically gives the contractors an incentive to get the work done on time. And so far it has worked an absolute treat for us. We've never experienced delays. It definitely just gives you a peace of mind. It helps the project run on time because they're obviously incentivized to get it done as well. And it's very telling if a contractor isn't willing to do that. So if they say, no, I don't want to do any delay penalties, then it gives you a clue that they probably don't do them on time. Maybe it's best not to work with them. The last strategy that I would use is by getting multiple quotes. So if you go and you get a quote from 3 different contractors, then you can cross-examine them. We would normally get both quotes up or all quotes up, and we'll share the screen, and we will literally cross-check each material, each price, and see where different contractors are adding that price and adding the VAT into the quotes. That just gives you the best negotiation power when it comes to getting the price down. If you can say to a contractor, we really want to work with you, but when we're comparing the price, it's not really adding up because your tiles are costing an extra 30 dirhams more per tile than this company. And then it will help them to sort of see that you know what you're talking about, that you have done some market research, that you've got other options on the table, and then it will just give them more likelihood of giving you a desirable price. The less that you spend on the renovation, the more profit you've got on the back end. So all of these things are super important. So the cost breakdown. To finance our first fix and flip with a renovation in Dubai, we used our 80% loan to value mortgage. So residents in Dubai get one 80% loan to value mortgage, and the loan to value mortgage basically just means how much is the bank going to give you. So the 80% loan to value basically just means that they will give you 80% of the property value as a loan, meaning that you only have to put down 20% as a down payment, which is a huge deal when you're buying properties for fix and flips, because it basically means that the profit that you make stays the same, but the cash that you put in is a lot less, meaning that your return cash on cash is a lot higher. So leveraging as much as possible is definitely one way to just give yourself a head start, and it's the best way really to do property in general, just because you do make so much more profit and you get the most out of your cash. We have the honour of working with the best mortgage broker, I would say, in Dubai. He is absolutely incredible. He gets, the difference in a mortgage broker is humongous because they can speed things up, they can make it slow down. We've got a great partnership with our mortgage broker, and if you are looking for a mortgage in Dubai, definitely get in touch and we can put you in touch with them, because they are just lightning speed, super on it, the best mortgage broker that we could have physically imagined. And again, makes such a huge difference for our fix and flips, because the quicker that we can get through them and process the sales, the purchases, it basically just means that we can make that profit quicker and keep churning through the fix and flips. So we had to put 20% down for the first property, or for this property for the renovation, and we got the rest as a loan for the bank. Because we knew that we're flipping it and we're selling it in a short period of time, we never really spend too much time worrying about the rates of a mortgage, because it's not really going to affect us. When you're doing a fix and flip, you don't really need to worry about the rates. You're not going to be keeping the property for long enough to even see the harm or the benefit of different rates. So I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about that. Just worry about getting the mortgage, and yeah, time would probably be the biggest benefit to different mortgages in Dubai. So we then obviously partnered with investors. That's because that's obviously our business, where that's the service that we offer. We're offering investors with money, a passive return on that by allocating it into these projects. And for that, we use their money to fund the renovation and the running costs. So we put in the down payment. It's effectively a joint venture where we've joined with investors to create this project, or to fund this entire project. So in the example that I'm going to talk you through, we bought the property for 2.2 million, and this was in Dubai Marina. So we bought it for 2.2 million. It was exactly as I described, super ugly, really aged. You would never want to live in that house. The kitchen was vile. I'll put some pictures actually up so that you can see what it looked like. It was not nice. Then we sold it for 2.9 million, which was a record-breaking price per square foot for that unit in the building. It's got the most gorgeous view, and it's sold in less than 3 weeks, which is absolutely insane. Super fast, which again is incredible for our investors and for our reputation as a property investment company, because they can make that return quicker and keep generating profit. So just to give you a little breakdown of the upfront costs, you have the down payment at 470k. So that's the 20% that I told you about. The 80% loan to value was loaned to us, so we didn't need to come up with that straight away. Our fees, now they seem pretty low at 15k. That's because at the time in Dubai, you could roll 80% of the fees into your mortgage. As of the 1st of February, that's no longer possible. So in future flips, the fees aspect of the down payment would be higher. But for this one, we could roll that in. And so of course we did, because the more leverage that you can get, the better. So the fees just cover the real estate broker, his fee, DLD, 4% fee. That's the Dubai Land Department. They charge 4% fees, a little bit like a tax when you buy the property. And then other smaller fees that are associated when you're buying the property. The renovation cost around 200,000 dirhams, which in English money is about 40,000k, give or take. And that was for everything. We had the appliances, all of the material, all of the works. So yeah, that was the cost of the renovation. And then the running costs, obviously because we bought this with a mortgage, you have a monthly mortgage payment, and you also have service charges in Dubai. So the service charges every month and the mortgage payments added up over the period of time that we had the property, which was about 6 to 7 months, added up to 88,000. So all of that in was our upfront costs. So that was effectively what we needed before we took the project on, so that we had all the cash for the project ready, and that was everything we put in. So for the profit calculation, you take the cash from the sale. So this is everything that you got back, which will include your down payment, the profit that you made, everything that you get back when you sell it basically in cash. So the only thing that you don't get to keep is whatever's still the bank's. Then you've got minus all of the cash down, so everything that you had to put into it, which I obviously broke down just a second ago. So minus 773k, and the rest is the profit. So for this one, it was around 400,000 dirhams in profit, which is about £80,000. Which again, the project took 10 weeks to complete the renovation and 6 months from purchase to sale agreed, which, you know, to make £80,000 in around 6 months is incredible and such a huge opportunity. Our investors obviously were super happy because they got their return in around 6 months, which is brilliant. So they can get, you know, with that, they can just roll that into another project as soon as possible. And obviously we're super happy too, because it was a huge success. Other key tips for success. These are just 3 things that I would definitely keep in mind if you're going to do your own project or fix and flip. Be there to check that the work is being completed. So make sure that you're there, basically. There's a huge value in just showing up and being there on site. Obviously, this is great where we come in because as project managers and as a company that run the entire process, we're obviously always there. And it basically just means that you can keep an eye on the progress, make sure that the contractors are sticking to the timeline. If there's a delay, you know about it. And if you're breathing down their necks, I know that might sound a little bit vicious, but if you're breathing down their necks, then they're more likely to make sure that they make your project and your renovation a priority, which will make sure that you avoid those delays as much as possible. Getting an independent snagger. So I've obviously referred to this in previous videos that I've done. I'll put the link below to that, to the video where we walked through an independent snagging. Getting a snagging report from an independent snagger is just a great tip for success because they will go through with, fresh eyes. They've never seen the project before. So where you might have become used to seeing a certain thing, they haven't. They're coming in with a fresh, brand new pair of eyes and they are going to scrutinise every bit of their work. They will put it all in a report and you can just hand that to your contractors so that you make sure that every single imperfection with that project is fixed before complete handover, knowing then that you've got a perfect product and a perfect finished product so that it can sell much quicker on the back end. And then getting a fast sale. Basically just prioritising either a cash seller, because typically they're a lot faster than a mortgage seller. Again, always being cautious of speed. And even if it is a cash seller, try to make sure that that cash seller is going to bring with it the benefits of a cash seller. There's no benefit to a cash seller if it's going to take them 3 months to get the cash into the country. So just asking the right questions for your broker or the broker that's liaising with the buyer, just trying to make sure and figure out whether that buyer, if they're a cash buyer or whether they're a mortgage buyer, is going to work and move quickly. Other things that can speed that up, if you're a mortgage seller, which we were for this project, if you've got the same bank or you're working with the same bank as the buyer, then that can also speed up the process a lot more. So finding buyers that are working with the same bank as you can be another little quick tip to fast success. And then finally, your next steps. So what are you going to do with all of this information? Firstly, you should create some form of financial projection model. So we have ours in an Excel, and again, like my business partner is a chartered accountant and he's made the most amazing Excel that takes into consideration every single cost that we could incur and then makes a projection for what we'll make the profit wise on the back end when we sell this project. If you've got that, it will help you to appraise different projects. So when brokers come to you with deals or properties, then you can then put that data or put those numbers into your Excel or your profit projection model, and you can see if it's going to work for you or not. And that is just so essential for when you're deciding whether to take on a project or not. And again, if you want to partner with us, please just get in touch because we have all of this set up. Contractors. Obviously, we have an amazing network of contractors, so again, don't hesitate to get in touch if you want to learn more about different contractors that we can recommend in Dubai. But brokers are another great source of recommendation because, they often have worked through, they might have sold a lot of renovated properties and they can then tell you which ones sold quickly or which renovation works were really good, and they can put you in touch with good contractors basically just because they will have obviously had access to a lot of renovated properties if they've got a lot of experience in Dubai. Once you've got those contractors, obviously perform some site visits and do some quality assurance to make sure that the quality is there in their work. Cash. If cash is something that you personally are struggling to get together, maybe it's your first fix and flip and you don't know where to start and you're wanting to do a similar thing, you're wanting to partner up with some investors, obviously we are always open to joint ventures, so you could get in touch with us if you wanted to do a joint venture with us and our investors, but likewise you could get in touch with family, you can get in touch with friends, basically just explore your current network and understand your value proposition. You are offering somebody money for doing nothing, and that is a huge benefit that you're bringing to them. So I think just remembering what you're actually bringing to the table and you know, obviously you've got to create credibility, you've got to make sure that they trust you, which is why it can be great to start off with friends and family who know that you're not going to run away with the money and run off into the hills. So just basically starting with people that you know and explaining to them what you can offer them and the opportunity that you've got. And then last but not least, brokers. Obviously go out, chat to brokers in Dubai. If you're in the UK, it would be very useful to speak to lots of brokers in Dubai because obviously they have their feet on the ground and they've got that specialised area knowledge, and ultimately create great relationship with brokers and you will find great opportunities through that. And so that's definitely the 4 next steps that you should do if you're looking to do your own fix and flip. As I've already mentioned, I will leave the links in the caption below if you want to get in touch with myself, if this sounds like a really good opportunity and you want to joint venture, if you want to introduce some investors to our company, get in touch with us. If you want us to project manage a renovation side of things, then use the links below, get in touch with us, drop a comment. Any question that you have leading on from this video, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment box because I will read every single one of them and I will help as much as I physically can. I will also offer this PDF and this step-by-step guide for free. If you drop a comment in the comments below, I will send you the PDF document 100%. My biggest advice to you, drop a comment, download the PDF and watch this video again. Make your own notes. Get as much out of this video as you physically can. Listening is the first part of learning, but using the knowledge is the best way to really get the most out of it. So I couldn't recommend that enough. I would make your own notes, fill the pages and then get going. Thank you so much for listening and I hope that this has helped.